My name is Collin Leeu, and I am the Employee Benefit Specialist for Securitas Financial Group, responsible for all employee benefits related inquiries. What is the two-pot system? Let's break it down to you guys in its simplest form. So instead of focusing on what the name says, two-pot, I need you guys to focus on what we call the three-pot system. Got it. So the vested pot, as mentioned, all your accumulated value as of the 31st of August will then be transferred to your vested pot. Now, what can you expect in your vested pot is the following. All the current rules that are applicable to your current pension fund will still be applicable, meaning if you should leave your employer 2, 3 months, 4 months from now, whatever accumulated value in your vested pot will still be available for you on exit from your employer. Second pot we're going to delve into is called the savings pot. Now, from the vested pot, there's going to be a 10% to a maximum rand value of 30,000 rand that's going to be transferred to your savings pot. Now, your savings pot is going to be the pot where all of us once a year would have access to whatever is accumulated in our savings pot. Now, to give you guys a practical breakdown of how the 10% to a maximum of 30% is calculated is as follows. So if you have 100,000 rand in your vested pot, 10% of 100,000 rand is equal to 10,000 rand. So that's how much is going to be seeded to your savings pot, in actual fact, transferred to your savings pot. Second example, if you've got 200,000 rand in your vested pot, 10% is equal to 20,000 rand that's going to be transferred. Argument's sake, you've got 400,000 rand in your vested pot. 10% of 400,000 rand is equal to 40,000, but because we capped on 30,000 rand, the maximum of 30,000 rand will be transferred to your savings pot. Hope that makes sense to all of you guys. Savings pot, like I've mentioned earlier, once a year, all of us that belong to a pension and provident would be able to access the money that's accumulated within the savings pot. Also, I've mentioned the start date of the two pot is the 1st of September. There's no rush for any of us to go and immediately start withdrawing the money. Whatever is being seeded into your savings pot is going to be available for all of us or any one of you at any given point. So there is no urgency for us to start withdrawing or submitting any applications. Does it make sense to all of you guys? Good. Now we're going to move to our third pot. Third pot is our retirement pot. So our retirement pot, there's a bit of a change in the rule when it comes to our retirement pot. So whatever is going to be contributed to your retirement pot come end of September, that assets or money that's being invested is only going to be available come retirement. Now, retirement in most cases is either age of 55, 60 or 65. Make sense? So just to recap, what can you expect as a member that belongs to a pension or provident fund? As of end of September, all your contributions towards your retirement is going to be split into two, and this is how it's going to work. We're going to use 900 Rand as an example. So if your contribution on a monthly basis is 900 Rand towards your retirement, the 900 Rand is going to be split into the two pots, namely savings and the retirement pot. So 1/3 of your 900, which is equal to a 300, is going to be split into your savings pot. And the rest, which is the remainder, 2/3 of the 900, which is equal to 600 Rand, that's going to be transferred to your retirement pot. Now I'm going to bring a little bit of emphasis back again to your retirement pot. Remember, whatever is being contributed as of end of September towards your retirement pot, that money can only be accessed on your retirement. Whereas the savings pot, where your 1/3 is going to accumulate on a monthly basis, an annual basis, to give an example, you contribute for the next 3 months, September, October, November, and December. Come next year, September, when you are eligible again to exercise the withdrawal on your savings pot, whatever is accumulated in terms of the 1/3 that was contributed to your savings will then be immediately available for you. Now, with all good things in life, there's always a give and take. There's a bit of a catch to it all. So when you are going to exercise the option or withdrawing from your savings, remember the following. So whatever withdrawal is going to take place from your savings pot, there's going to be two very important costs that you need to take into consideration. So the first one that comes up is the service provider, where the money is being administered or where it's being managed. They're going to charge an administration fee. Administration fee ranges from 180 up to 350 rand, depending on which service provider is helping you to do the withdrawal. The second one, which is the most pertinent and the most important one, is tax. So whatever amount of withdrawal that you're going to do from your savings account, always keep into consideration your marginal tax will be used in order for you to access your money. Makes sense to all of you guys? So the two important things to look out for: one, administration fee, which is going to be from your service provider. Service provider in layman's term would be your Old Mutual, your Liberty, your Momentum. So any one of these guys that are administering your fund, they're going to charge an admin fee. Second charge is going to be your marginal tax rate that's going to be used to calculate your tax deductibility on the amount that you will be deducting or withdrawing in actual fact. Does this all make sense to you guys? So in a nutshell, the two-pot system is here to stay. It's been decided on and it has been implemented as of 1 September. So I'm going to give you the frequently asked questions that normally come my way. And I also pose these questions to anyone that comes to me and say, Collin, can I please, get a withdrawal or explain the whole process to me? So one, when it comes to the two-pot, one of the biggest questions normally is, what happens when I leave my employer? I've got my vested pot, I've got my savings, and I've got my retirement pot. What am I accessing, or what money is going to be available for me immediately when I leave my employer? So the following. One, when you do decide to leave your employer 6, 2 or 3 years from now, remember the vested pot I mentioned earlier, the fund rules are still going to be the same as per the current rules before the 1st of September. So you as a member, you still have full access to your vested pot. So meaning you can go do the withdrawal on whatever assets is available for you to withdraw from. Second option normally would be to preserve whatever you've got in that fund, or the third one would be to transfer to another approved fund. So those rules are still going to be the same, meaning you still have access to your vested pot. Second one would be, do I have access to my savings pot? Definitely. Whatever has been accumulated, you do have access to that pot. Mind you, you're only allowed to withdraw from that pot once a year. So whatever has been accumulated, your vested and your savings pot, you can definitely withdraw and get the money. What happens to your retirement pot? Retirement pot on the other end, remember, that money is going to be locked in up until the age of retirement. So this is the first scenario, and the question was, what happens when I leave my employer? Second one is, what happens when I retire? Am I going to get all my money? Am I going to lose some of my money? So the simple answer here is, whatever you have invested in your vested pot, your savings, and your retirement pot, this is going to be accumulated into one pot, and your post and pre-retirement conversation is going to happen in all three pots instead of just one of your pots. Hope that answers your question on what's going to happen to my money when I leave my employer. For all inquiries or anything to do with the two-pot system, please do not hesitate to get in contact with me or my office. You're more than welcome to send an email to info@securitas.co.za, or you can send directly to collin.leeu@securitas.co.za. Thank you.